Hey everybody, so today what we're going to talk about is people reaching their breaking points. I must have spoke to 3 or 4 people recently and they just can't take it anymore. They're reaching their breaking point when it comes to expenses. Everything's going up and they just can't afford it. It reaches a plateau that they're like, I just can't pay the bills. So it's getting difficult out there, with these people, especially owning a house. So basically, your electricity bill goes up 10%, but then your water bill goes up, and then your insurance goes up 40%, and then you name it. If everybody's raising their prices just a little bit, if you add it up all together, it gets to a point that people just can't afford things. And at this end of this video, I'm going to tell you what these people told me what they have to do, because things are just getting so bad. So let's talk about some of the expenses that they're talking about. Well, obviously the first one is insurance, not just in Florida but everywhere, is getting outrageous. So there's nothing they can do. They have a mortgage. If they don't pay for the insurance, the mortgage company is going to want to protect their investment, so they're going to put forced insurance, and forced insurance is going to be a lot more expensive than any kind of insurance you get, so you have no choice in that matter. So people's electric bill is going up. They're saying that it went up dramatically. That too. There's things you could do. You could change the light bulbs to LED light bulbs. You call your energy company and they might come out and inspect your house and show you what you do to save power and see what's causing a lot of the issues. It could be an old air conditioner that's running all the time. It could be a pool in the backyard, because the motor uses so much power. You might be able to get like what's called a 2-stage motor to help reduce the cost. So electricity is definitely becoming an issue too. So adding all this stuff up is getting there. So let's keep going. Property taxes. Well, here in Florida, people are buying houses based on thinking the taxes are going to be what the people that are selling it are paying for taxes. Yeah, but that's just for the first year. After that, it's based on what you paid for the house, if you homesteaded it. So keep that in mind. If you're saying, okay, they're paying $3,000 a year in taxes, but they paid the house, they paid $250,000 for the house, and now you just bought it for $600,000 and they were a homestead, they're going to be paying a lot less than what you're going to be paying. And when you get your bill on the taxes, you're going to be shocked at what the change is going to be. Mortgage payments. Obviously if you have a 3% rate, or around that, and you're used to a payment, that's great, but believe it or not, I talked to one person and they actually got an adjustable rate mortgage. Why you would get an adjustable rate mortgage, I have no idea, especially when the rates were in the 3s and 4s, but they did. And now their interest rate pretty much doubled, so their payments went up and they weren't expecting that to happen. So keep that in mind. When you're getting a mortgage and the bank says, yeah, with all your debt, you're allowed to go to 50% of your debt to income ratio. What happens if you lose the job? Some banks require 3 months reserves. Me, I think the best thing is to have a 1 year of reserves, because you never know. Even though you love your job, maybe the company's not doing good. So make sure you have plenty of reserves when it comes to buying a house. Take the mortgage payments, and in my opinion, put 12 months of mortgage payments, put them in an account, and then just forget about them for a little while for an emergency. It won't go bad. All right, let's talk about another one. Maintenance on your house. You know, when I go do a home inspection and I'm looking at a roof or something, and I give the people my opinion on the condition of the roof. Sometimes I tell them, hey, this roof will last another 10 years. Sometimes I tell them it'll last 3 years, or you need to replace it right away. It's just an opinion. Anything can happen. So, you know, if your roof has, if you get a roof inspected and they're saying that it has 3 years left, you have to think about it like you need to replace it right away. Because if you're like, oh, I'll put it off, I'll put it off, I'll put it off, you know, it can start leaking sooner, and then you have to come up with the cost to replace your roof. It could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on average. You never know. So if your roof has 5 or 6 years left of life, cut that in half. Consider it having 3 years or 2 years. And then make sure that you have the money put aside a little bit at a time, so you don't get stressed out when you start having a leak and you have to come up with all that money right away at the same time. Reserves with maintenance. Houses are constantly something's breaking. You know, my house, 20 years old, everything was going at the same time. My washer and dryer broke, my air conditioner broke, I had to replace my roof, you name it. My water heater went, my water softener went, you know, all at the same time. It was kind of ridiculous, you know, how within a 90-day period everything started breaking. But I planned for a lot of these, not at the same time, but I did kind of plan for them, and I put money to the side for all these repairs. So you need to consider this. Buying a house and saying, okay, this is my mortgage payment, and these are my taxes, and this is my insurance. There's a lot more to it, because like these people are reaching their breaking point, because between inflation, the cost of repairs, insurance, utilities, everything, they can't take it anymore. They literally, all the people I spoke to are literally saying, that's it, I just can't pay it. I need to eat food, you know. Here's some advice, and I'll tell you what they're doing, what they told me that they're planning to do. If you're buying a house and you said you could afford a $400,000 house, this is my opinion now, look for a house that's $350,000. Go cheaper. Go cheaper than what you were planning to spend, because it'll give you a little bit of a cushion. Take some of that money that you were going to put down on the house, even if you have to wait a little longer and save some money, and put it to the side. So in case these emergencies come up, you have some cash, because anybody could lose their job at any time. You know, even being self-employed, you know, people could say, you know, the company's going out of, you know, business. Your business is not doing well. So what are you going to do? If you don't have the business, you don't make the money. So keep some reserves. Go with a cheaper house. You could always upgrade later on, especially how things are right now. You know, you know, the houses may get cheaper depending on where you live. If you live in a homeowners association, my recommendation, again, I'm not a realtor, but my recommendation, if you live in a homeowners association, is see how strong the homeowners association is. See how their insurance reserves are. See how it's been managed. Look at their budgets, because you might say, okay, this is great. I'm going into an HOA. I'm only paying $250 a month. And then they turn around and they say, well, you know, we have to do a special assessment because, you know, we have to replace a bunch of roofs. That's common areas. So now you get a special assessment of $3-4 grand. Maybe you weren't expecting that. Maybe you don't have the money for that. But if you're a part of an association and you agree to live there, you agree to pay, especially if they approve it and pass it. There's no way to get around it. So, and HOAs, just like homeowners, they have problems with insurance too. So some of them, their insurance is doubling. It's not like they have the money themselves and they pay it. All the homeowners get together and they pay the insurance. So you really have to determine how good the association is and how financially strong they are and how organized they are. Because if they're not, you know, it could be a problem down the road with special assessments and prices spiking a lot more than you expected. So let's recap a little bit. The people I've been speaking to reach the end of their rope. Why? It's not because of one thing. It's because they just can't afford it anymore. Between the roofs and the utilities and the taxes and the insurance and the cost of food and inflation, things have been getting a little crazy to the amount. Like one of the ladies I spoke to, she got a job offer that she wanted to take. It's in a different location, so it pays a little bit better. So she says, no, that would be perfect, but you would have to move. And now, because of mortgage rates the way they are, she can't afford to move. And even if she was able to move to that location, the costs are so much more for the houses where she needs to move to, that doesn't make sense. So now, because of the cost of everything, she can't move. She's kind of stuck. So what she told me she's doing is she's giving up. She's going to sell everything and she's going to move to a rural area in another state, and she's going to buy something that's really inexpensive. And then she's just going to try to figure out, even if there's not a lot of jobs in the area, she's going to try to figure out how she could work from home to be able to afford everything. So, but she has no choice. She goes, either that or I don't pay my bills here and I get in trouble anyways. So I might as move to a much cheaper place and hope for the best. So, I mean, I can't blame her. If you don't have the money, you don't have the money. What are you going to do? Another person I spoke to said that they're going to invite somebody to live in their house to help them with the expenses, which I understand. So if they get the right person to move in the house, you know, and help out, that would be great. The problem with that is you have to make sure you get the right person, because if you get the wrong person, you're not going to be happy. And then you may feel like a little bit uncomfortable, you know, having somebody in your house that you've been used to living on your own or with your partner or whatever. So, but that's what the other person's doing. The third person, this is the best. They're actually leaving the United States. They're going down to Belize or someplace area over there because they did their research, and they're like, yeah, it's cheaper for me to sell everything, go to a different country, set up, work. Their work is over the internet, so they can pretty much be anywhere they want. And they said that with the same amount of income and not the expenses that they can't afford anymore, they'll live like a king, but not in the United States. So that's the one for that I got a kick out of. I mean, that's a little dramatic for me, leaving the United States, but I understand. He just says that between everything that's going on and being fed up with everything, he's like, it's time for me to leave. Anyways, everybody, like always, I greatly appreciate you guys watching these videos. And please hit the like button and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. And if you guys have any things that you guys are frustrated about when it comes to real estate owning and the expenses, please put it below in the comments. I'd like to see what other people's frustrations are, because I know everybody has them. I know I have them too, but we'll all get through this. But we'll talk to you soon. All right, thank you and have a great day.